Worried about letting someone else pick out the perfect avocado for your perfect impress them on the third date guacamole? Well, good thing Instacart shoppers are as picky as you are. They find ripe avocados like it's their guac on the line. They are milk expiration date detectives. They bag eggs like the 12 precious pieces of cargo they are. So let Instacart shoppers overthink your groceries so that you can overthink what you'll wear on that third date. Download the Instacart app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
yes, goal,
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
Have you ever covered a carpet stain with a rug? Ignored a leaky faucet? Pretended your half-painted living room is supposed to look that way? Well, you're not alone. We've all got unfinished home projects. Whether it's a door that sticks, or a disorganized closet, or an AC unit that only works half the time. It all matters. You just haven't taken care of it yet. But there's an easier way. Just download the Thumbtack app. You can search for what you need done and find tons of highly rated pros right in your neighborhood. Check prices, reviews, and book a pro right on the spot. Plus, you'll know what to tackle next, because Thumbtack is the app that shows you what to do, who to hire, and when. Pull out your phone, and in just a few taps, say goodbye to all those unfinished home projects, and say hello to caring for your home the easier way. Download Thumbtack and start a project today.
Radio you can touch.
Showtime. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
Now you feel good because Max, who has a sense of humor of a pie.
Who threw those pies? Who threw those pies?
Oh, I threw the pies.
Either I'm losing it, my grasp on humor. I mean, I don't know, man.
Jeff Lutz.
Just be honest. The Downtown Athletic Club has no idea what you're doing. They don't know you exist.
Hey, listen. There's a phone call for you.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
No logic, no reason, no explanation. Just a prolonged nightmare.
Are you ready? Let's go!
Hello again, everybody. Welcome. It's a Monday edition of the Bob and Jeff Show on KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz co-hosting. Max Power producing and engineering. 869-1240. As always, the phone number, the IHOP hotline. We expect storms to arrive here shortly. How severe are they telling you out there at the storm team?
Well, don't make light. Today's not really the day to make light.
I'm not making any light of anything. I forgot the name of the storm team.
You know what it is. Storm Team 12.
There you go.
It's not that difficult.
It was 11.
Not funny, as you like to say.
What are they saying?
Very severe.
Well, what time?
Long track tornadoes.
What time's it supposed to arrive?
Around 4.
Well, that's as we get off the show. You going to be okay to drive home?
I don't know yet. Or
are you going to want to stay here for a while?
I don't know.
I'll ask Debbie if that invitation exists.
Well, she brought it up the second I walked in, but there will obviously be some demands. I want the Guardians on. I want a nice meal prepared, and then, we'll talk.
You want a nice meal prepared?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be prepared by you necessarily, but I would.
But by Debbie?
No, I'm just saying if you want to go out and get something, I would appreciate.
So we're supposed to go out in the bad weather.
You can go now, and you'll have it for later.
So you're telling my wife to go now?
I'm not telling her to. I'm just saying that's one of my demands.
Why do you think you're entitled?
What do you mean?
Nobody's going to get you any dinner.
Well, that's contingent on me sticking around.
Great. See ya.
All right, good.
I'll watch you drive away.
I'll have a nice meal at home then.
And I'll watch you drive away in the worst weather we've seen. And here's what I'll say. You know why I sent him out there? Because he wanted us to make dinner.
I didn't say you had to make dinner. I just want a nice meal prepared.
We're not doing that.
from someone.
No,
by someone.
We're not doing that.
Well, you're going to have to eat
we
something.
attended the, what were they called?
Jester Awards.
The Jester Awards yesterday at Century 2. What a nice production for high school drama students. I thoroughly enjoyed it, except for the 3 hours.
Well, you're going to have to get over that.
I'd like to see them maybe cut that down slightly.
Well, every school nominated.
Everybody
for
got nominated.
Best production had to do a number, and they had to, announce the nominations. They had to give out the awards. I thought it was fine.
It's a nice event.
Andale got jobbed, but that's all right.
What do you mean Andale got jobbed?
Andale won Best Performer and Best Director, but not Best Overall Show. So I don't know how that works. That doesn't make sense to me. And if one of the Jester judges is out there, first of all, do better. Second of all, call us and let us know how that process worked. My daughter also did not win Best Costume
Yeah, but she
design.
got nominated.
Should have won.
Well, that's easy to say. She did a fabulous job, good enough to be nominated, but I didn't see all the other costumes.
Well, we saw the ones that won, and the young lady from Channel 3, which, just gushing over the fact that one thing was handmade. Do we not know that most of what Aaron designed was also handmade?
This sounds like sour grapes. It sounds like bad parenting.
Bad
It
parenting?
sounds like exactly what we'd tell folks in League 42 not to do.
Bad parenting?
Be thankful for the nomination. Be thankful for the opportunity to support your child. And as she heads off to further her career, be supportive of that. Don't be whining and lamenting.
Not whining. I'm just pointing out. Wow, you made this shawl. Oh my God.
Well, that sounds
fantastic.
like terrible sportsmanship.
Well, it's terrible judging.
So that's just awful.
From the guy who said, "Let's get CB Buckner out of the big leagues."
If that happened in
not a
League
smart
42,
move, by the way.
What do you mean?
You're putting that out about CB Buckner. You shouldn't have done that.
Why?
Because you're working closely now with
love
Major League
MLB.
Baseball.
But come on, CB.
And to tag them in it.
But isn't he a bad umpire?
I don't know.
You know.
He gets some down
He's
reviews
a bad
at times.
umpire. There are.
Well, you don't want to lose a game on a call like that.
Well, not like we were going to get a hit anyway. But it was a 4 to 6 inch pitch outside.
Right.
You don't like to see that called a strike.
No, not to decide a game.
More closer to 4 inches. But 4 inches is 4 inches.
A ball is a ball.
You shouldn't miss that pitch.
Agreed.
But you do, and you move on, and the Cardinals are terrible, and I'm on the warpath when it comes to the Cardinals. So whatever I need to do.
Doesn't it suck that you just have no voice?
What do you mean?
You don't have a voice about what the Cardinals' decision-making?
I've got nothing. I've got 62 years invested in them.
Yeah, that doesn't hold any weight in the front office or the owner's box.
Well,
unfortunately.
What little I can do, I do. I tweeted at Bernie Miklasz today. He's finally getting it. Mo's got to go. John Mozeliak. It's got to happen. He had a good run, but his message is stale, and eventually, you just run out of impact. He doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, I agree. It's time to move on.
And I wish they'd understand that. It seems like a simple decision. I'm not even blaming the manager. I think Ollie Marmol, in the right situation, would probably be a pretty good manager. But this front office is just not good, and especially John Mozeliak.
I'm sorry to hear that for you. Hope it gets turned around at some point.
Meanwhile, if you're a Royals fan right now, you got to be elated. Not only are they playing pretty well, but it sounds like they were trying to make a deal for Luis Arias before he went to the Padres. And the Royals haven't been aggressive in a long time. It doesn't appear that they've really put a max effort into making their team good for a while, and John Sherman seems to be all in on that.
Seems to be. We'll see what they have up their sleeve. I was surprised that you have a guy of Arias' caliber going in May, being traded in May. But I guess
the Marlins got a good haul for him, according to everybody. Prospects are just that. I'd take a proven big leaguer any day. But if you're the Miami Marlins and you're in the basement with no hope of digging out, that was a good deal for them.
Could be.
And a great deal for the Padres.
Yeah, Padres just loaded with infield types.
And good hitters.
Yeah. We'll see what the Padres do.
They're
Padres are always
hovering around
doing
500 right now. But that's certainly a team that I would look into. The Dodgers coming off a sweep and a dominant sweep of the Braves. Man, that is what you call sending a message to everybody else in the National League. Yeah, come on, Atlanta. I know you're talking about how good you are. Come in here and we'll take care of you.
Well, that's the Dodgers. I mean, it wouldn't have been a surprise anyway, really, that series turned out. Because they're both
a little
really,
bit of a surprise.
It's a little bit of a surprise.
When somebody sweeps that series.
Yeah, but you're not shocked. Dodgers they just called up Andy Pages, who's tearing the cover off the ball.
Yeah, they're loaded, but they'd had some scuffles early on. Their pitching has been slow to develop, but they've gotten there in a big way, and that was an impressive sweep for them.
They just have a player development machine that never stops. You look at a team like the Braves; they developed this set group of players, but then it stopped. You don't have a bursting pipeline of prospects, but they do have an unbelievable major league team. The Dodgers always have both. It just never stops. They continue to have good minor league players, and they can just call them up at will, and they'll usually produce.
Well, we'd like to see the Cardinals get back to that. That used to be how the Cardinals operated.
It did,
if you'll remember.
Yeah, I do remember.
When they had an opening, when they had a hole, they just reached down to AAA or AA and filled it.
And, they thought they would be doing that in this current iteration of the Cardinals, but those guys haven't all worked out.
No, it's not working out.
Doesn't look like it's working out for Lars Nootbaar.
Trust me, it's not working out.
No, I get it.
Nolan Gorman, it's not working out. Lars Nootbaar, it's not working out. I don't know about Mason Wynn. He started well, hadn't hit much for a few weeks. Dylan Carlson, don't have high hopes. These are all guys that were highly touted prospects.
Big-time guys.
Makes me angry.
What happened to Nolan Gorman?
Can't hit. Join the club. He can't hit. We got two hitters, Wilson Contreras and Nolan Arenado. And outside of that, you might as well take a fly swatter up there. You'd have a better shot.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Bats are irrelevant to the Cardinals. Doesn't matter what kind of a bat they take up there. They might as well take balsa wood.
Well, you don't want to lose 2 or 3 to the White Sox.
Well, that's what just happened.
Regardless of whether they've
popping off.
improved.
You lost a couple games.
Well, that's one.
Who'd you lose to?
The Angels.
Yeah, you don't want to lose to the Angels.
In a flat performance after a road trip, and then they rebounded and took the next 2.
Angels are terrible.
And are 22-12 and in first place.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You certainly got to step up on me. Did they call up your guy Manzanato yet? What's his name?
Kyle Manzardo.
Did they call him up?
Yes.
Is he in the lineup today?
He's batting 7th, but had to put Stephen Kwan on the disabled list.
Uh-oh.
Our best player to date.
Well, that's, you're going to have a DL. You're going to have that occasionally. Here is what's on tap on the show today. We're going to do a Bob and Jeff draft early today at 2:25. What's the category? What did I mention to you the other day?
I don't remember. You know I don't remember stuff like that.
You liked it. What was it?
I don't remember. I really don't. I want to do athletes named Bob or Jeff.
All right.
But it has to be Bob or Jeff.
Can't be Roberto.
No.
Can't be Robert.
Cannot.
Why?
Because that's not Bob or Jeff.
Can't be Bobby.
I don't know about Bobby.
Let's go with Bobby.
Well, then I don't get 2 names. I don't get Jeff.
Yeah, you can have Jeffrey. That opens up Jeffrey Leonard.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to take him.
I can't hear you, Max.
He's a fine player.
I think it was you wanted lead singers.
Oh, yeah. lead singers, Max says.
We'll do that next week.
Male singers, male lead singers. We'll do that next week. Bob or Jeff today.
Athletes.
And you can go Bobby or Jeffrey.
Fine, but no.
You can't go Roberto. You can't go Robert.
The name has to start with a J or a B.
Okay.
Well, can I go Jeff Jenkins?
No, you can't. No, that's Geoff.
I know, so I'm just saying.
That's not even the same spelling.
But it's the same name.
No. No,
so it has to start with a J or a B, the name.
Yes.
Okay.
Why, you got some trick?
No, I don't.
Up your sleeve?
But you can't. I'm just saying you can't use Robert or Robbie or Roberto.
Well, I'll come up with a great list.
I'm sure you will.
We can interchange, right?
You can pick all Jeffs, and I can pick all Bobs.
Well, you're too proud. You'll try to get it with Jeff, and I believe I'll come out on top.
There's a lot of good Bobs.
We do have that. Then at 2:45 or thereabouts, Kevin Saal, Wichita State Athletic Director, with his monthly appearance on the show. And at 3:25 today, Jamel Halaparik from Visit Wichita will be our guest, and we'll talk about upcoming events for the month of May, including a lacrosse tournament.
Yeah, college lacrosse.
That is here, I believe, starting tomorrow.
Correct.
So we'll talk with Jamel coming up at 3:25 today. 869-1240. We've got NBA playoffs to talk about. As I think I predicted, now you can certainly correct me if you think I'm wrong, the Minnesota Timberwolves are a problem in the Western
they beat
Conference.
Denver on the road. That would equate to a problem.
They're a problem for everybody right now.
Right.
And I am just, as is everyone who's watching the NBA, we haven't seen a player like Anthony Edwards in a while. He has it. He has that, please don't jump me. He's not Michael Jordan. He has that look.
I get it. They were comparing those two on, I believe it was The Athletic. Somebody said that. Somebody wrote it. Professional.
I'm not
the
the
just
first
somebody
to say that.
popping off, but yeah, Anthony Edwards is incredible.
And you don't pop off about things like that because Michael Jordan is, in my opinion, the greatest basketball player ever.
But he's not beyond a comparison. He's not. People have similar
but this
traits.
kid's only 22, but the thing is, he plays a lot like Jordan. It's not that you just say, we've compared LeBron to Jordan. LeBron doesn't really play like Jordan. Anthony Edwards plays like Jordan. He has the same kind of game, can do it all, pull up for the three, take it to the basket, stop, spin, and shoot. Everything you can imagine in an offensive game, this kid has it. He kind of sounds like Jordan, his mentality, his confidence at a young age. He's kind of taken a team in the Minnesota Timberwolves, which has some other nice pieces.
Right.
It's not just him.
No, they've got that's why they're in this position.
Right. That's what I mean. I think Denver's in big trouble. And then I think whoever wins the other series, Dallas or Oklahoma City, I don't think they can beat Minnesota. I think Minnesota's going to the NBA Finals.
You just don't want to see in this year, probably next year, but for like a dynasty run, you just don't want to see them get old too quickly because they got Mike Conley, they've got Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns could age.
He's a young guy,
poorly.
Karl Anthony Towns.
No, I'm just saying he could age kind of poorly.
And Gobert's not that old.
I know.
And Conley's been around forever, but no offense to Michael Conley, he's a nice player, but he's a dime a dozen guy. You can go out and find another guy like him.
I don't know about that.
Trust me. You know what? Here's a situation where when I say
why has he been around forever? Why is he always on winning teams?
Here's something. When I say something like that, you just need to say, yeah, Dad, you're right.
Well, I don't think I agree with it.
Well, I think you should agree with it.
Guys who played 12, 15 years in the NBA and are on a lot of winning teams.
As I said, he's a good player.
Are not dime a dozen types.
You can find Michael Conleys out there. You can find guys that can play like Michael Conley.
It seems like his career is more of a rarity than a commonality.
You can. I'll stand by it. In my opinion, Guys like Mike Conley,
Was he
who's a
37?
very good player. This year he averaged 12.2 points, 7 assists per game. Very nice player.
Give me his age.
You can find a guy like that. He's 36. He'll be 37 in October.
That's pretty amazing. And, yeah, I guess at his current production, you could probably find someone like him. But over the course of his career...
I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that you're going to find a point guard who replicates his career. I'm saying what he's producing for
That's
you
what
now,
I just said.
You can go find. That's my statement.
Fine.
Don't back into my statement and pretend like it's your statement.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to find the right guy. Doesn't mean they're going to find the right guy for their roster and a guy who's
you know what? I'll take my chance.
Willing to give up the ball and doesn't need to be. I mean, those.
I'll take my chance.
Okay, you take your chances.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take my chances that you can find a player to come in and give you what Mike Conley's given you this year.
Fine.
I don't worry about that for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I'm just saying they could age fast.
Well, I don't
we'll
care.
See.
I don't care if they age fast. I mean, who's going to age?
Just told you.
Rudy Gobert's not very old, 31. Who else?
I told you Karl Anthony Towns. He's not old by any stretch, but he's a guy, the type of guy who could age.
He's 28.
Fast.
Naz Reid is 24. Very good player. Who else?
He won Sixth Man of the Year.
Who else you wondering about?
I told you all the people.
Give me another one.
I don't even know who else is on their team.
Well, I'm just telling you, I think they're good. You got Edwards, who's 22, Towns, who's 28, Gobert, who's 31, Jaden McDaniels is 23. He's a pretty good player. I don't worry about him aging. Naz Reid's 24. And those are your guys.
Fine.
It's a young team, man.
For the most part it is,
Outside of Conley.
But they have some pieces who are getting up there a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see how they retool. That's all I'm saying. Calm down.
I don't get it. I just don't understand why you just didn't say, Dad, you seem to have the Timberwolves figured out. That's a pretty good assessment.
I don't think you do.
That's a pretty good assessment.
For now, yes. But I'm just talking about, are they a team that's built to go on a 3 to 5 year run?
I do believe they are.
Okay, fine.
Absolutely.
Great.
Look what happened with the Bulls with Michael Jordan. They kept bringing in the right pieces, right? They had another star in Pippen, and then
Who's their other star?
And then they just kept bringing Karl Anthony Towns is their other star.
All right.
Are you kidding?
He's good.
20 points per game?
He's good.
8.4
until
rebounds?
Anthony Edwards came along, he was
That's what
leading
great
a sinking
do.
ship.
He wasn't a lead guy.
Okay,
but he's a great number 2 guy.
He's an okay number 2 guy.
Oh, my goodness.
Scottie Pippen, when Jordan left, they got to the East Finals.
Right.
That's not a Western Conference Finals team.
That's because of all the people they build around him. You bring in a Rodman, you bring in a Kerr, you bring in B.J. Armstrong, you bring in Luke
B.J. Armstrong was long gone by then.
Livingston.
He
you
was
bring
long
in
gone.
all these guys.
You don't even know what you're talking
these star
about.
Players.
They had Pippen and Kukoc.
Right. You bring in Tony Kukoc. You bring in Bill Cartwright.
What are you talking about?
You bring in Red Kerr.
God. Is this segment over?
All right, we'll take a break. Man, sometimes
nobody thinks that's funny.
That I laugh at myself.
Right. Then no one else.
We'll be back. The Bob and Jeff Show, KFH.
Worried about letting someone else pick out the perfect avocado for your perfect impress them on the third date guacamole? Well, good thing Instacart shoppers are as picky as you are. They find ripe avocados like it's their guac on the line. They are milk expiration date detectives. They bag eggs like the 12 precious pieces of cargo they are. So let Instacart shoppers overthink your groceries so that you can overthink what you'll wear on that third date. Download the Instacart app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
Yes, goal.
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
Have you ever covered a carpet stain with a rug? Ignored a leaky faucet? Pretended your half-painted living room is supposed to look that way? Well, you're not alone. We've all got unfinished home projects. Whether it's a door that sticks, or a disorganized closet, or an AC unit that only works half the time. It all matters. You just haven't taken care of it yet. But there's an easier way. Just download the Thumbtack app. You can search for what you need done and find tons of highly rated pros right in your neighborhood. Check prices, reviews, and book a pro right on the spot. Plus, you'll know what to tackle next, because Thumbtack is the app that shows you what to do, who to hire, and when. Pull out your phone and in just a few taps, say goodbye to all those unfinished home projects and say hello to caring for your home the easier way. Download Thumbtack and start a project today.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
There's so many nuances and nooks and crannies in the music, and I like digging into that stuff and trying to bring out not just the notes, but the sounds and spirit of the music. So it was intense, and there's no way to sort of mail it in. You have to go full on into everything.
All right, we are back. We are playing music from friends of the show here on the Bob and Jeff Show. Tom Breslin from Kansas appeared on this show on August 23rd, 2021. And that was, of course, Kansas.
I love it.
All
what
right.
song did we play? I didn't hear it.
Dust in the Wind, I think.
Of course. No point of no return.
Yeah, point of no return. I wasn't really listening, which is a shame because I should be.
Point
That's
of
part
no
of my job.
Return. KNOW. Never really understood it. Never really sought to understand it.
All right, we are back. We are doing the Bob and Jeff draft here on the show. So here we go. We're picking people with the name either Bob or Jeff, sports athletes.
Yeah.
Flip the coin. This is a tough one. There aren't that many.
Yeah, there are. There are too many. What do you call?
Heads. Tails.
So I get to decide if I want to go first or second, and I'm going to go second.
Really? Okay. I will pick Bob Gibson.
Not a surprise.
You handed him to me
Well, I did.
on a silver platter.
I'm going to take Bob Feller and maybe I'll get some points from Max, Bobby Orr.
Well, that's too bad.
Why is that too bad? Don't stall. This is draft time. You pick. The pick is in, my friend. Either you make a pick, or you surrender your pick, and you have 10 seconds.
Well, I'll go. I'll go when I want to.
You'll go now.
Because it's tough to find these people.
No, it isn't.
Apparently, you found a bunch. I'm struggling to find them.
Well, then that's not going to spell a successful draft for you.
Bob Cousy.
That was my other possible selection.
And Jeff Bagwell.
Interesting. I will go arguably, maybe, you can maybe argue it, the greatest professional driver of all time, and that would be Jeff Gordon. He's an athlete, right? That counts.
Max?
Well, it's tough to drive, but I'll let you decide, Bob.
It counts. It counts. It's on sports television. It's covered by sports.
I'll give it to him, but it's a reach.
And I'm going to take one of the great golfers of all time, Bobby Jones. Yeah, I went with it.
I will take. This gets tough. I'll take one of the great Dallas Cowboys who's ever played, Bob Lilly, and another
Not sure
of the greatest Cowboys who's ever played, and maybe the fastest player in the history of sports, Bullet Bob Hayes. Wow. I think I just locked this baby up.
I doubt it. I'm going to take Bob Pettit.
Nobody will have remembered him.
Hall of Famer. And
not many Jeffs.
Not a lot of Jeffs. I mean, you could go one or two, maybe more. I will go.
Come on.
I'm going to go Bobby Bonds.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Pretty good player. That's my second baseball player. I was trying to get all different sports represented, but I don't think that's going to happen.
One of the outstanding basketball players in history. Spent his career with the Detroit Pistons mostly, and the greatest player in the history of St. Bonaventure, Bob Lanier. You picked a race driver.
I did.
I'm going to pick someone from the world of chess.
No, that's not a sport.
Max?
That is absolutely not a sport.
Bobby Fischer.
No, absolutely not.
Max, are you allowing that?
That is a board game. That is not a sport.
That's
a board game.
Yeah.
That's a sport.
No.
If
that's a sport and Monopoly's a sport.
Oh, please.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
We got to open it up to operation and sorry.
All right. I'll take Hall of Famer Bob Lemon. You're laughing at Bob Lemon.
Yes, I absolutely am. He's fine, but you laughed at me when I brought him up in the past, so these things are going to happen.
What do you mean he's fine? Bob Lemon is a Hall of Famer, had a tremendous career, much of it in Cleveland. In fact, all of it in Cleveland.
I know.
And I don't know why you'd make light of Hall of Famer Bob Lemon.
I'm going to go with a former world record holder for 23 years in the long jump, and that would be Bob Beamon.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
And my final pick has some options.
Well, let's go ahead and make it because we need to move this along.
Now, I want Max to consider the breadth of this athlete's work. Okay?
Wait a minute. Max,
because he's an athlete, but I want him to be considered for all of his contributions to the world of sports.
No.
And that would be
it's only as an athlete.
I want Max to consider.
It's only as an athlete.
I want Max and I'm asking Max, and this is up to Max. to determine whether it's his athletic contributions or his worldwide contributions.
No, it's athletic.
No, it's Max's decision.
No, it's my decision.
No, it's not.
Listen, you're on the
It's
border
however
with the
Max
driver.
wants to judge it.
The driver's
and I
on
will
the
take
border.
Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker.
Well, he played.
Well, that would open it up to all kinds of different people.
But
No, it
Bob
wouldn't.
Uecker
Of course
played.
He was an athlete.
So only regarding his athlete life.
No, that's Max's decision. Max can decide however he wants, but he played Major League Baseball.
Max, I'll drive to the office and knock you out.
He
Uecker
also, at
played.
age 89,
He played.
I believe, is still the play-by-play voice of the Milwaukee
Say
Brewers.
that again, Max.
He at least played. He played.
Yeah, but that's all you can consider.
That's all I'm going
not-
to consider.
Thank you. He
I'm not
was a
considering
terrible
Uecker
player.
as an actor. I'm not considering Uecker as a.
Thank you.
You're
a
not
guest
considering
on
Uecker as a
Tonight Show.
broadcaster in baseball for his
Thank
entire
you.
life.
Thank you, Max. Let Max made his decision.
No, he didn't.
You can't pressure him.
You did.
No,
That's
I
all
didn't.
you did. Max will do this. Max will do
I
that.
didn't pressure him at all. Max.
I said Max can. Max can. You are bullying him.
So I've got three choices here.
They all suck.
I've got two Bobs and a Jeff who could make up my final pick. The Bobs are Bob Boozer from Kansas State, had a great NBA career.
He's not even the best basketball Bob on the board.
Who is?
Bob Dandridge.
Oh, no, Bob Boozer was better than
Bob McAdoo.
Oh, that's a good one. Bob Greasy is also under consideration, the architect of the Miami Dolphins. And, in fact, I've talked myself into that. When I said the architect of the dominant Miami Dolphins.
You didn't want Jeff Hornacek?
No.
Or was it Jeff Kent
It was Jeff Kent.
that you were considering?
It was Jeff Kent.
All right,
that I was
Bob Greasy it
considering.
is.
So my 8 are as follows. And they are, according to Max, to be considered for their
Max
athletic
can do whatever he wants.
accomplishments only. Bob Gibson, Bob Cousy, Jeff Bagwell, Bob Lilly, Bob Hayes.
Bob Lilly. You lost people with that one.
You look him up. He might be
Nobody
the greatest
cares.
cowboy player ever.
But nobody cares.
Bob Lanier, Bob Lemon, and Bob Greasy. Jeff, who are yours?
Bob Feller, Bobby Orr, Jeff Gordon. We both had one Jeff in the third round. Bobby Jones, the golfer. Bob Pettit, Bobby Bonds, Bob Beeman, and Mr. Baseball himself, Bob Uecker.
Terrible player. Max, whose list do you prefer?
Another one that's not easy. You know, you missed Bobby Carpenter, first American player to score 40 goals in the NHL.
Yeah, we did miss him on purpose.
I saw his first goal when he played for Washington.
We don't care about any of that. We want to know whose list you like.
I'm leaning toward Bob. Bob, you know, with Lanier and Cousy and Gibson. And
Pretty good
Hayes.
list.
Yeah. Jeff's
And Bob Lilly.
It's going to be close. I mean, I think the people will be close. Jeff might lose him on Beeman, but, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
World record holder, but that's
Yeah, I understand,
All right.
but how many people will, you know.
not a lot. But I mean, I thought
And
of
Bobby Bonds.
Bonds, Bonds had a great career. I mean, I know he struck out.
He was a good. It
was
was a
good.
good career. It wasn't a great career.
it was a great career.
It was a
really
good
good
career.
He was
It
fast.
wasn't a
he could
Hall of
hit.
Fame
Good
career, but
career.
well, what are you looking up? Like you don't know Bobby Bonds' career. He went 30-30 like every year, and then he aged poorly. Got into some things.
Bobby Bonds had a good career. No question about it.
I here for that?
I don't know. I don't really keep track of when you're here or not.
That's the
because
same. I agree. I don't
it's
either.
not all that important to the show's quality, frankly.
The more you say that,
Here's
the more we know you don't believe it.
Here's Kevin Saal, Wichita State Athletic Director. Kevin, I'd ask you to weigh in on that opinion, but I don't want to put you in a bad spot.
The only thing I can think about when you two banter back and forth like that is the two guys in the theater on the Muppet Show, the two guys up in the balcony that are always barking at each other.
That's our inspiration.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We've been accused of that, yes. So happy to have you today. Funny. It's we're nearing the end of the spring sports season. It seems like it's flown by. So when we do get to the end of the spring season and all the sports shut down to some degree for a little while, what happens in the athletic director's office? What do you do at that point in time?
Well, it's a good question. It will be a while yet still. Obviously, we've got 2 more conference weekends with baseball, and then we've got the conference tournament after that. So you've got 3 to 4 weeks of baseball season left. We've got this week with hosting the American Athletic Conference softball tournament this week, so we're excited about that. We'll have 9 games, 4 on Wednesday, 2 Thursday, 2 Friday, and 1 Saturday. And then track and field, actually, they leave late this week to head to American Athletic Conference Championships, and then we should have a handful, maybe a few more than a handful, that will compete in NCAA regionals and hopefully be able to get to Eugene, which will be late May, early June. So we really start to slow down late May, early June when we got things clicking really well. Obviously, you guys know that means NCAA baseball and NCAA softball are late May and early June. But for us, we turn our attention to evaluating the year that has been. We have about 160 strategic goals and objectives that we had set for ourselves this year, and we'll take a look at that. We'll look at kind of our global winning percentages this year, and we do season-ending meetings with coaches, of course, fundraising for both our annual operating scholarships and NIL will continue throughout the summer. And we have a busy summer this summer. We've got women's basketball is going to be going to the U.S. Virgin Islands, so they'll be here practicing and prepping for that. So we'll have a lot of support services that will happen in terms of academics and nutrition and strength and conditioning this summer. Volleyball is going to Brazil, so both of those guys are doing foreign trips, and then men's basketball will be here in July working out as well. So long story short is there's not as much downtime in our industry as there used to be in the summers, and we'll be prepping for next year and putting together our marketing plans for volleyball and men's women's basketball. So it'll be a busy summer.
So it was announced that Gene Stevenson, obviously former baseball coach at Wichita State for a long time, will be donating $600,000 to the baseball program and $20,000 each year earmarked for the NIL collective. How will you be using that money? Has that all been determined? At least the $600,000. What will that go to?
Well, the $600,000 is stipulated as a planned gift, so it's a gift, very generous gift that is stipulated in Gene's trust, and then obviously there'll be paperwork that's done with the foundation here on campus. And as we understand the very generous gift, that it would be restricted specifically to baseball. So at that time, I hope it's 40 years from now. At that time, we would make the best determination of what would be most impactful and useful to the baseball program. Again, at that time, it would be restricted to baseball. The $20,000 NIL gift, again, very, very generous, and we're incredibly appreciative of that. It's set up as a challenge gift in order for us to recruit $20,000 from other sources for NIL to match that 20, and certainly appreciate Coach Stevenson's leadership in that area, and that would be restricted to baseball's NIL through the Wheat Shot Collective. So, again, I think short-term recruiting and retention, obviously, from an NIL perspective, and then long-term, the larger gift would be used at the best benefit of the baseball program at that time.
Kevin Saal, our guest, Wichita State Athletic Director. So I keep thinking about NIL, and I know I probably beat it into the ground a little bit, but I have so many questions. When you do this NIL, and it's not just Wichita State, of course, but I'm talking on a bigger perspective, are schools, what's the requirement in terms of sharing this information? Can media request open records? Is it public? Is it required to be public? Do we need to know where these funds go and which athletes get them? Is that part of the process yet? Do you expect it to be if it's not?
Great questions. Because the way that the NCAA guidance lays out, athletic departments can basically do anything and everything, Bob, right up till collecting funds and distributing them to athletes, right? So we can put NIL opportunities in front of young people. They don't have to accept them. We can bring them to the table. But at the end of the day, the athletics department cannot accept the funds from a vendor or a sponsor or a private donor that wants to support NIL and distribute those to the young people. That's why the collectives are involved. There are third parties that can accept and distribute those funds. They manage the tax-exempt status. They manage the tax liability for our student athletes. And so that then leads to the answer to your question from an open records perspective. If it was routed through the university, then obviously that would be subject to Kansas open record law. It's routed through a foundation, Blueprint Sports. It's a private foundation that is not subject to open records law. And I would tell you just anecdotally, I don't know that we would want to get into public disclosure of specific amounts for young people. You get ever closer to the professional model when things like that start to occur. It becomes a little bit more problematic. But at the end of the day, the collective and folks who make the best decisions for recruitment and retention. And as we've talked about before, I think it's a more powerful retention tool than it is recruitment. We've got a group of coaches here that are moving on to the next recruit if the first question is NIL. That's not conducive to what we're trying to accomplish here. And I will tell you anecdotally that you hear a lot out there, and until we get to full transparency and a requirement to disclose those types of figures, it's going to be really hard to know what market you're competing in, right? Because you might have a representative call you and say, hey, it's going to take this amount, or there's really no way to validate amounts and what the market is that you're truly competing for. So I think at some point we'll need to get to the transparency on it nationwide. We took a half a step there this most recent cycle of NCAA rule changes that basically stipulated a voluntary disclosure process. So we'll see how much folks take advantage of that voluntary disclosure. But until we get to a mandatory disclosure and the transparency that's associated with that, it's going to be difficult for us to figure out what market we're competing within.
So you mentioned the American Conference softball tournament coming to Wichita. You've invested in that program quite a bit with the upcoming renovations. You extended their coach, Christy Bredbenner. So what do you envision the ceiling of that program could be in the near future?
Well, that's a great question. I think what Coach Bredbenner and her staff have built over the last 12 to 13 years would tell you that started off really humble beginnings, and then all of a sudden you're going to 5 out of 7 NCAA regionals, and so there's a pretty steep decline or incline of growth there, and they're battle tested and they understand what that looks like. I was really pleased to see us finish the season strong with a sweep against Memphis to claim the 4th seed in the tournament. We're competing at home, and I think in my experience there's been great value and benefit, competitive advantage to competing for championships at home when you can sleep in your own beds and get into your own routine and do all those sort of things. So I look to really good things for us here in the very short term with this softball tournament this week. This is a tournament that the institution has looked forward to for a couple of years. We understood that we would be considered for this event if we invested in our facility to the tune of batting cages, dugout, lights. We did the field and artificial turf last summer as well, and did all of those things with a clear understanding that we'd have an opportunity to host this, on top of the fact that it's the right thing to do for our facilities. Well, we got it. We're hosting the event Wednesday through Saturday this week. It's going to be some really high-level softball getting played would encourage, young people in Wichita and families. I think we've done a little over 200 all-session tickets so far, and we've got obviously more to sell there. Really excited about it. I think it's a huge step forward for our program. And what's interesting, guys, is that after this year, it's been kind of on an institutional rotation basis. And now the institutions in the American Athletic Conference will bid for it. So we have a unique opportunity here at Wichita State to absolutely crush it this week and make the league walk away wondering why they would put it anywhere else but here. So, again, it's a great opportunity. And I think to answer your question, man, I think the next step for us is a regional championship and getting to a super regional and continuing to build. But certainly understand all the work that's been put in over the last 12 to 13 years to get us to where we are now.
Kevin Saal with us. One final question for you, Kevin, and it kind of goes back to the changing atmosphere in college athletics. You've mentioned that Wichita State wants to be in a position with its NIL to retain athletes. And if the first question is, what's the NIL look like, you have a tendency to maybe move on. We had Bill Self on the show from Kansas, obviously, the other day, and he was of the opinion that at KU it's quite a bit different, that they're in a position where NIL is a vital factor to their men's basketball program. So this retention thing, while I think it's great in theory, how does it work out in practice?
Yep. Well, retention speaks to or alludes to the fact that there is value from a young person's perspective and understanding, number one, that they're valued within the program as people and that they're developing as young people as well, right? Because if those two things aren't happening, then retention is irrelevant. And so I think to give you an example, Quincy Ballard, understands that he's valued as a person within our program, and he took tremendous steps forward from a player development standpoint last year. Why would you leave if you're going to continue to improve there as long as we can be competitive in the NIL space, that they're not taking a huge hit by staying at Wichita State? And I will tell you, there have been instances where young people have taken less from the Wheat Shot Collective than they could have gotten elsewhere, because they're valued as people, number one, and number two, because they're getting better. And so that's where I think there's value in the retention conversation, that you don't necessarily have to match some other collective dollar for dollar in doing that. I didn't hear the interview with Coach Self and think the world of him and respect the job that he's done. I do think there's an element in recruiting that it's not going to be the most important tool in the toolbox, but it's pretty important. It's one of many factors that young people are going to evaluate, and so it does present some version of a minimum cost of admission in the recruiting process for certain folks, and it's a fine line. We're threading a very thin needle here, because if you're talking to young people where the first question out of the gate is NIL, what do you have? That's probably not somebody that you're going to build a championship culture with. At the same time, you got to be competitive in that space as well. So I know that can create a confusing dynamic, but the retention piece speaks to folks that are already in your program. You know what you got, and you know they're getting better, and they know they're being valued. And so that's how you create the continuity, is through retention.
Fascinating stuff. I continue to just be enthralled by the whole conversation as it pertains to the changing ways of college athletics. Thanks for coming on and explaining it the way you do. We appreciate it, Kevin.
Oh, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Y'all be safe with the weather this afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity, and go Shockers.
All right, Kevin Saal, Athletic Director, Wichita State University. We've got an hour left. Jamel Halaparik from Visit Wichita will join us at 3:25 to talk about some of the fun events coming up this month here in our community. We'll be back, the Bob and Jeff Show on KFH.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
Yes, goal.
or attending one live, You can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at Cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
It's a great day to venture out in a spacious and capable Toyota SUV. Like the new RAV4. With available all-wheel drive, it can go just about anywhere. And with plenty of passenger and cargo space, you'll go from morning carpool to weekend road trip without missing a beat. Plus, with available features like wireless charging and a touchscreen interface, your Toyota RAV4 will keep you connected no matter where you're going. Or check out a spacious Highlander. With seating for up to 8, it's a hub for family adventure. You'll drive in comfort and style with available heated and ventilated seats and all the latest tech. And with available hybrid models, your new Highlander can save you tons on gas. Right now, your local Toyota dealer has more vehicles in stock and is making delivery on new vehicles almost every day. So don't wait. Buy a RAV4 or Highlander today. Visit buyatoyota.com for deals and more. Toyota. Let's go places.
Now, with the MLB app, you can get baseball your way. Pick your favorite team, your favorite players, and get customized highlights, stories, and breaking news right on your home feed. Follow the action with Game 10, where 3D replays add another dimension. Plus, notifications can keep you connected to every pitch, every hit, every game. The MLB app. Baseball your way. Download it now for free from the App Store or Google Play. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.